In these perilous times, see from current events how biblical prophecy is coming to pass in front of our eyes. You're watching In the Last Days, the program that looks at Israel and the end times with teaching from a Hebraic perspective. With Martin and Natalie Blackham, thank you to our friends and partners who make this program possible. Now, here's Martin and Natalie.
Hi, welcome to the In the Last Days television program with myself, Martin Blackham. Natalie's behind the scenes today. She says hello with a very special guest in the studio today, David Rubin from Shiloh. You are former mayor of Shiloh. You speak and tour Europe and America, and he's recently written this book, which we recommend, and you can get it from his website. Details will be on the screen. It's called Islamic Tsunami, Israel and America in the Age of Obama. And we were talking last week about the storm, which is very interesting on the book. You can see that there's a storm with the sea coming into New York, and we're talking about the interesting fact that Sandy, or the hurricane, brought the sea into New York, and Obama was in the middle of it. So it was just looking at this book was so interesting. So we recommend the book. They'll get a good understanding about what's happening, the link between Obama and Islam, and about Israel, and about the urgency of the hour that we live in. So we highly recommend that book. You need to have that book. It says actually, I think one of the reviews says this is a book that should be next to the clock on your bedside. I believe one of the reviews said.
The alarm clock.
I thought that was very interesting. We were talking last week, David, and great to have you in the studio again.
Thank you.
About Benghazi and this event, which is current news as we speak in the studio today. It's high news. The Republicans, I believe McCain and others, are bringing this forward. Obama is trying to get rid of it, saying, if you want to pick on Susan Rice, pick on me. So we were talking about the fact that this consulate had the American ambassador in it at the time, and it was blamed on a video.
Right. It was very strange because everyone in the United States who follows the news, and of course, even though I live in Israel, I do follow the news very closely in the United States over the internet, and there is no question that the message that the Obama administration was getting out there was that it was this amateurish video that was on the internet, that had been on the internet for any number of months, criticizing Muhammad, was the reason for that terrorist attack, in which the American embassy was burned down to the ground, in which there were armed attackers, in which the ambassador to Libya was killed and 3 other staffers were killed. This was no child's play. This was no protest with signs against an amateurish video. It's just so obvious, and it's incredible that the administration seems to be getting away with this, and that the Democrats are standing with their president.
And the fact is that the ambassador was murdered in an American embassy or in the vicinity. There's some videos actually showing being dragged through the streets. You'd have thought that this is a good reason to invade a country in the past, and yet the Obama administration has made this out as a little protest against the United States, which got out of hand.
Well, I think that what you're seeing is a cover-up, and it's a very serious cover-up. I think this is the worst, without question, the worst scandal of this decade, and at the very least, and I hope that those who are pointing this out will continue to point it out and push through this investigation in Congress.
Now, some people watching today, some of the viewers may feel that perhaps we're being a bit harsh with Obama in the last program, and his connections with Islam, and...
No, I don't think so at all. In the Islamic Tsunami, by the way, the subtitle is Israel and America in the Age of Obama, and the reason I stress that is because we're in a different time today. Obama is a different kind of president. He's a president that has very strong allegiances and connections in the Islamic world, who was raised as a Muslim. And I know he says he's not a Muslim now, but it's clearly in his background, and it influences the way that he relates to the Islamic world. And conversely, it relates to how it influences how he relates to Israel. And
which is very serious at the moment, because Israel is in the middle of a military operation, and suddenly there's Clinton here, and who's from the Obama administration.
Yeah, we have to be aware of those connections and in analyzing what is going on in the world today.
Now, you're actually the, is it the chairman or the president of the Shiloh Israel Children's Fund?
Yes, I'm the founder and president of the Shiloh Israel Children's Fund. Yes, I know in Hebrew we call it Shiloh, but I realize that most people in the English-speaking world know it as Shiloh, so I'll call it Shiloh as well. So the Shiloh Israel Children's Fund was established 7 years ago after my 3-year-old son and I were wounded in a terrorist shooting attack.
And that was on the road from Jerusalem to
Shiloh, yes. So we were coming back in our car, and halfway home, suddenly there was a massive hail of bullets on the car. The car went completely dead. I was shot in the leg. My son was shot in the head, and the bullet that went into his head and through his neck missed his brainstem by 1 millimeter. So that 1 millimeter determined whether he was going to live or to die. Thank God he survived, and we survived that attack. And as a result of the psychological trauma that he experienced, I started to explore what all the other children were experiencing from all the waves of terrorism and war in Israel. And I realized that the psychological trauma in the children is very deep, and that we as adults have a responsibility to help them to heal that trauma. So I established the Shiloh Israel Children's Fund with the purpose of healing the trauma of terrorism and war in the lives of these children. And as you mentioned, we're in the middle of conflict right now, in the middle of a war with the Hamas terrorists in Gaza. And we've seen a tremendous amount of adults and parents and teachers who have turned to us asking for support for the children, to get the children into these therapy programs to deal with the psychological trauma of terrorism. And so we've established therapy programs using art and using music and animals. We've built a petting zoo and a horse farm. And all of this is to heal the trauma of the children and to help restore some of the lost innocence in their lives.
And the people who are watching today, if they want to get involved and they say they want to help Israel practically, they can go to the website, the Shiloh website.
Well, they go to the Shiloh Israel Children's Fund website, and that is ShilohIsraelChildren.org. That's Shiloh, SHILOH, IsraelChildren.org.
And there's a way they can give on the website?
Yes, they go right to the donate section, and if they want, they can look at all the videos and testimonies first and get a feel for it. But yes, they can go right to the donate section, and they can get more information about how they can donate online. We have many people around the world who have signed up for monthly giving, and it's a very blessed thing that people are standing with us in these difficult times.
And with what's happening at the moment, do you think you'll expand the work, or?
Oh, there's no question about it. We're growing all the time. We're able to serve more children every single year, and the people who are standing with us are making that happen.
And do you think that people, the people who are watching the media, understand about the trauma that children are suffering
Oh,
at the
no,
moment?
no, I don't think so at all. I know that the media sometimes will show the physical wounds, but the media does not get into, almost as a rule, and I don't quite understand why, they don't get into the psychological trauma of terrorism. Maybe because you don't see it when the war is going on, and you don't see it when the bullets are hitting, uh, but we see it weeks and months later, when we see the effects of PTSD, of post-trauma stress disorder, and we see how much the children have suffered.
And is it that the parents who refer them, or teachers, or how do the children come to the?
Well, very often it comes from the teachers. Very often it comes from the parents, who turn to our head psychologist or director, and they ask for their children to be treated. They say, my child has been having sleepless nights, or my child uh, has been showing excessive fear when we go out on the roads, or my child has had fits of anger or panic attacks. And these are things that are very real, and they are happening. So when the parents come to us and they ask for help, so I want to be able to say, yes, we can help you. And we try to help as many as we can, but unfortunately, there are limits to what we're able to do if we don't have the proper funding in terms of subsidizing the treatments, in addition to subsidizing the center itself and the equipment in the center.
And in the south at the moment, the south of Israel, it's particularly bad because there's the missiles are coming. Children can't. I believe the schools are closed at the moment.
The schools are closed some distance from Gaza, and the missiles in this conflict have a much longer range than they've ever had before. So we've had sirens going off. The siren alerts for missile attacks have been going off for the civilians to go into bomb shelters. And I was just in a bomb shelter yesterday. I was also in a bomb shelter a couple of days before. Those are the directions of the Home Front Command, that you have to go directly to a bomb shelter when the siren goes off. So it's disrupting people's lives, and I have to tell you, in our center, which is located right in the center of Israel, when there is war in the south and when there is war in the north, and when there is always terrorism in the center. And we who live in the biblical heartland of Israel and Samaria, we feel it more than any place else, because
that's the north of.
No, well, it's the northern part of the West Bank, but it's just north of Jerusalem, and we feel the terrorism more than any place else. So the children, when they see their fathers and their siblings going off to war, and they're being left behind to face the terrorism on their own, it's a very frightening thing. And we want to help them. We want to be able to help them. So when people go into our website, into www.shilohisraelchildren.org, and they give a donation online with a credit card, it's a very easy process, but it's a wonderful thing, and it helps us to provide support for each of these children. And just $5,000 in the course of a year can provide treatment for a child for post-trauma therapy for the entire year.
So people can give small amounts, large amounts?
Any amounts that they wish, and every single dollar and every single euro helps to, and yes, every single pound helps to heal the children.
That's the wonderful thing. You can give online. Go to the Shiloh website. We'll be putting details on the screen how you can go onto the website. Sometimes people who are watching, David, they see these things and they say, oh, it was on and then it disappeared. So we're going to put it on during the program. We will be putting the website details on of how you can get in touch with David and the Shiloh Israel Children's Fund at the bottom of the screen. So if you do miss it, we will put it on again, okay? And if you do, by the way, if you ever want to email us, we'd love to hear from you. Don't forget our email address, which is info@inthelastdays.com, and the website www.inthelastdays.com. Now, you were saying a bit earlier about the terrorism that you have to face, and in fact it was because of terrorism that the Shiloh Israel Children's Fund started, and that you wrote the book, The Islamic Tsunami. And people may not realize that what you have to go through, that you have to drive through these roads, and unfortunately the roads that you have to drive through are bordering on the Palestinian territories, aren't they? They have these villages, and as we're speaking, is the security increased on the roads, or?
Well, it's about the same as it has been for a number of years. When we had the massive waves of terrorism, that's when the security was increased. In the very spot where my 3-year-old son and I were wounded in that terrorist shooting attack by members of the Palestinian Authority, there were no lights at the time. There were no street lights, and there were no soldiers stationed in the area. Since then they've put in street lights, and they have one of those pillbox lookout posts, army lookout posts, right on that very spot where we were wounded. So there has been some increase in security, but look, there's a limit to what the Army can do. The Army can't be in every single place in the country, especially when we have rockets being fired from Gaza and missiles being fired from Lebanon. You know, we're getting it from all sides, and now we have the country of Egypt, which has a tremendous border, a long border with Israel, is now run by the Muslim Brotherhood, which is basically it's a political party, but it's a terrorist organization in and of itself. The Hamas terrorists were grown out of the Muslim Brotherhood. So we're surrounded on all sides.
Which is very dangerous, because you have Gaza. What people may not realize is that the view is that Gaza and Egypt are connected, really. There's just a small checkpoint, the Rafah checkpoint between these two groups, that the Egyptian ambassador was withdrawn from. I mean, these things are, you see, what amazes me is that things happen so fast that people don't even notice them, but the Egyptian ambassador to Israel was withdrawn because of Gaza.
So what does that say about their commitment to peaceful relations with Israel? It just makes it clear that they have a very strong alliance with the Hamas, and that all of these terrorist organizations are working together. And I'd like to point out, since everyone talks about civilians in Gaza, does anyone know how Hamas came to power in Gaza and in the Palestinian Authority? In the year 2006, there were free and fair elections in the Palestinian Authority. Who did they elect to power? The Hamas terrorist organization. So those are the civilians that we're talking about who elected Hamas, who elected this terrorist organization. I think there has to be some element of responsibility here.
Because they were free elections. They weren't, as far as we know, they weren't forced elections. They were free. People could go out and vote, and they chose to vote for Hamas, knowing that Hamas has one goal. And as far as I know, it's still stated that its goal is the destruction of Israel, as far as I know.
Yes, it does.
This is another thing that the media is not pointing out. The media is saying that this is a war because of rockets coming into Israel from Gaza, but they're not really explaining that Hamas's goal isn't to attack Israel on the outskirts or in the south. Hamas's goal is that all of Israel, all the Jewish people, will be removed from Israel, and that Israel will come under their control. That's their goal.
That's right, that's right. And by the way, it's not just Hamas, it's also the Fatah terrorist organization that is the main partner of Hamas in the Palestinian Authority. And if you watch the Palestinian Authority television, okay, which is not privatized, like television in England or anywhere else in the free world, the television is controlled by the Palestinian Authority. And if you watch that television, you will see that Israel doesn't exist. You will see that the goal of the whole Palestinian Authority is to destroy Israel, is to wipe it off the map. That hasn't changed one iota.
And the other thing I noticed was that we were covering, for television, we were covering the arrival of Jewish people with Nefesh Ben Nefesh at Ben Gurion Airport. And I noticed in all the coverage that the only I think it was the Palestinian Authority were complaining about the Jewish people coming back. They were saying, oh, this will cause problems, and
well, they've made it clear in their media, in the Palestinian Authority media, they speak about how Israel is attempting to Judaize Jerusalem. Well, what does that mean? We're attempting to Judaize the place where King David had his unified kingdom. We're attempting to Judaize the place where King Solomon built the Holy Temple in Jerusalem, where the two holy temples stood, where Abraham almost sacrificed Isaac. I mean, we're talking about the cradle of Western civilization that is rooted in the biblical history. Now, all you have to do is open up the Bible, and you will see how many hundreds of times Israel is mentioned in that Bible, and where it talks about Israel's sovereignty in the land of Israel and in Jerusalem specifically, our capital. It's absolutely absurd to talk about the threat of Israel Judaizing Jerusalem. You would think that they don't know that Jerusalem means a complete inheritance. The Hebrew of Jerusalem means a complete inheritance. Well, who does that complete inheritance come from? The complete inheritance, obviously, if you are biblically literate, you know that it comes from God. So the Muslims who are basically, they're 1,400 years old, and they were never connected to the land of Israel in any significant way. In fact, when they pray, they bow down to the ground. They put their rear ends in the direction of where the Holy Temple stood, in the direction of the Holy of Holies, and they make it clear that their holy aspirations are towards Mecca and the Saudi Arabian Peninsula, where their so-called religion began. But the Jewish people have always prayed 3 times a day, at least, facing Jerusalem. No matter where we were in the world, we were always facing Jerusalem. We were always facing the land of Israel.
And what's interesting is that the battle seems to be, although at the moment it's spread throughout Israel, but the places that are difficult, it's difficult to build, difficult to establish communities, is the heartland. But these are the very places that are mentioned in the Bible. In Shiloh, Shiloh is mentioned in the Bible, and Jerusalem and Hebron, and these communities. By the way, if the viewers look on the internet at what's been happening at Hebron, there's been riots there. But this is the very places that are mentioned in the Bible.
They're rioting against that video, Martin. Don't you know that? They're rioting against that amateurish video. And same reason why the Benghazi embassy was attacked. And everything they do, they can blame it on some amateurish video. The fact is, that's what they do in the Islamic world. They don't protest. They don't have sit-ins. They don't carry signs. They riot. They kill, they ambush because of jihad. Because jihad, which is the most central precept in Islam, calls for the holy war against the non-Muslims. That's what it's all about.
And then unfortunately, the media isn't showing that at all. We're not getting this.
Well, the media is afraid of being physically attacked, of being violently attacked for speaking the truth about Islam. And well, what does that tell you about Islam itself? Where there's smoke, there's fire. If they're afraid of being attacked, then it's because many media outlets have been attacked for speaking the truth about Islam. And so they respond with violence, and they're just proving what I'm saying to be true.
And if you want to know more about the Islamic tsunami, Israel, America in the age of Obama, which is so relevant at the moment with the re-election of Obama, I know some of our viewers, David, will be saying, well, you know, they've either like Obama or they can't see the problem. You need to get this book and understand the problems, the issue. The issue isn't a race issue, it's an Islamic issue. And this book, The Islamic Tsunami, will help you to understand that. You can get that at the website.
They can go to the website, IslamicTsunami.com, or they can go on Amazon UK. Or they can just go to the ShilohIsraelChildren.org website, and they can get it there as well.
And also the Shiloh Israel Children's Fund, please consider helping them. It doesn't matter, you might say I can only do a small donation. Every donation counts, and particularly at the moment when there are children being referred who are being affected as we speak. It's been great to be with you. And thank you very much, David, for coming in to the studio again this week.
You're welcome.
It's been great to be with you, and remember, we're living in the last days.
You've been watching In the Last Days, a TV program with Martin and Natalie Blackham, the program that looks at Israel and the end times with teaching from a Hebraic perspective. If you would like to financially support the program or find out about conferences, meetings or ministry products, then please contact us with the details on your screen. Visit our easy-to-use website at www.inthelastdays.com and register for our free e-newsletter. Get the latest news from Israel, product information, online video teaching, or watch today's TV program at a time that's convenient to you. Thank you again, friends and partners, for making this program possible.
See you same time, same station for the next program from In the Last Days.